everybody, it's Julie. Thanks for joining me here on my channel for some Bible journaling. I wanted to share a couple of products with you that are new from Sweet N Sassy Stamps this month. This is a really cool stencil here. I'm going to put it against this red background so you can see it a little bit better. And it's got different words: create, WWJD, joy, enjoy, art. It's got Ephesians, Psalm 119, 137, all these numbers here, an ampersand, an at, bigger numbers. So you have these small numbers here, and then you have a larger size, all these different numbers that you can use for various things. But what a fun stencil. So I'm going to be using this today both as a background, but I'm also going to use it as a stencil to draw out or to get the words on. I'm going to use this Create here. This set right here is, well, which is easier to see? There we go. I love this alpha set. It's called Boss Lady, and it's big and bold and just very clean looking. So I'm going to use this stamp set, and it has a coordinating die. How awesome is that? So you can stamp the letters on some cardstock and then die cut them out, or you can just go ahead and on some pattern paper just cut out a bunch of them so you've got a ready supply. So this is the Boss Lady die set. So that is really cool too. I'm going to be journaling here in Psalm 51 verse 10, which says, "Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." So I'm going to put us on fast forward and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to start off by gluing up my stencil. Now what I mean by that is I use this Zig 2A glue pen, which if you let the glue dry, it provides a temporary adhesion, and that way I can keep my stencil in place. So I did set that aside, let it dry, and then I also put in my Bible mat that fits this illustrating Bible. This is the Psalms and Proverbs edition of the illustrating Bible, so I've got lots of room to work with. And I decided to go with this yellow simply because I had my blending brush, and it already had this yellow on it, and I didn't feel like cleaning it off. So I went ahead and just went with that color. So I stenciled in using the blending brush, and then I also went around the edges to get that background on here. And then I'm picking up some of that ink. This is called Wild Honey, I think. Yeah, that's what this color is. And I'm applying water to it here. You saw me just put some of that ink over on my Bible mat and then pick it up. That way I can use it as paint. I splattered with a big fluffy brush, and then I also highlighted my verse. So I got a background using this stencil. Now I'm going to actually stencil in the word create. And now I'm going to use the color Barn Door. Again, these two colors just happen to be right on my desk. That's kind of why I chose them. So first I'm going to outline it with a micron pen, but I realize that this is not going to be dark enough against this background. Yeah, you can see that. So I want to now stencil in some color. So I'm going to mask off the other words on this stencil to make sure that I don't get any word but the word create, because that's the one I want. So I'm using just some washi tape to cover up everything else so that I can isolate that one word. And there we go. So I'm using this red. So the verse, "Create in me a clean heart, a pure heart." And here we go. I'm going to now put some of that red around my verse. So I'm masking off the verse. I've already highlighted the verse in the yellow, but now I'm going to kind of frame it with that red as well. I'm going to leave that on until I'm finished doing all the splattering. Now I'm going to apply some of that Barn Door ink to my Bible mat, wet it, pick it up, and do some splattering. Now I did dry that so that I don't smear it And now I'm using this Boss Lady alpha set to spell out clean. Now what I really like about this verse is I did some study on it. It says, "Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." So as I studied this, create, of course, means to fashion, to form, to shape. And then clean, another word for pure, a clean heart. Now, heart in the Bible refers to the inner person, not just the emotions, but the thinking, the feeling, the character. That's the heart, the ideas, the inclinations. And then if we continue going into the verse, and renew a right spirit within me. I love the word that says right. It means to be firm and stable and established. If my heart, if my spirit is established in God, established in the gospel, that's where God wants me. That's where I want to be. That is the image of God, to have a pure and right heart, a clean heart. And because of sin, it isn't. But because of Jesus, it is, it can be. And Jesus has renewed our heart. He has renewed our spirit. He has cleansed our heart. So here I've stamped clean heart. And now I'm making a little stencil with just some cardstock. So I did the old kindergarten trick of folding the paper, cutting out a heart, and now I'm going to use this to shape a heart. Applying some of that Zig 2A glue, letting that dry so that where it bunches up with the heart, I can apply that down, make it stick so I won't get ink under it, but I'm setting that aside. Now I'm using this particular stamp set. It's called In His Image. And what I'm doing now is making the words that I want. I am using a couple of different fonts here, and I want to keep it consistent. So I pulled out the word that says God, and now I'm isolating all the letters but the O. So you can see here how you can make stamps work for you. So I put some washi tape over the G and the D, inked up the stamp, and then pulled it off so that only the O got the ink on it. Now this time I want to use God, the whole word, so it says, "Oh God." Now here you're going to see me do a little bit more. This word is me. This is still from the In His Image stamp set. And now I'm going to play around a bit. So now I'm going to pull out the stamp that has the word image. And I'm going to cover up all the other letters, and I want to spell out in. But what it has here is M from image, I-M. So I covered up all the other letters except for the I-M, and part of the M I covered up, and then I just cleaned off the little bit there, so all it says is in. So even though that word was image, I could make it spell in. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that I have the same font in that one line. Now I'm using the A in that word image, and I'm covering up everything else with washi tape, ink it up, and then take off the washi tape. You've got to remember to take the washi tape off, or else you're going to have a big hot mess. So now I have just the letter A. And you can see me, I did clean off if there's any stray little mark. So that way it's all in the same font. And it says, "Oh God, create in me a clean heart." Now where it didn't come out as dark as I wanted it, I'm coming in with my pen, and I'm just filling that in. Okay, now I'm going to take that heart stencil that I made with cardstock, and again using washi tape. Washi tape is my best friend in this video and in this process. I'm going to stick that down. You see me there putting it on my hand first, and that gets rid of some of the stickiness so it won't tear my page. And I'm going to use that same barn door red, and I am applying the color to make a heart. Okay, so I'm pulling that off. Now I'm going to outline it with the stencil and my pen. You can actually see where I used this stencil before with red to spell out Psalm 51:10, but it wasn't dark enough, so I'm going to come back in and leave the process where I make it white. Now this particular stamp, this girl with open hands, is from the Women of Praise stamp set. All of these are from Sweet N Sassy Stamps. I have used this particular stamp, this girl with the open hands, in so many ways. It's just, it means so much. It can represent so much. It's like I'm asking Jesus, my hands are open, do with me, Lord, as you will, clean my heart. My hands are open, I'm giving my heart to him. I'm using a straight edge to add a border around my page. So what I like to do is make a straight line, and then I just come in with a pen and go over that and kind of give it a second, almost a squiggly line. Now I'm coming in and using my white gel pen, and I'm filling in where I put Psalm 51:10. This is the verse. Now, I cut out some here because first I did it in red, didn't show up. Then I did it in white acrylic paint, and it was a mess. It was not quite dark enough. Maybe if I had used a thicker body, a heavier body acrylic paint. But I came back in and just finally used the white gel pen. Now, Psalm 51:10 does not show up in its entirety on this stencil, but it has all those different elements. So I just isolated, you can see all the washi tape, I just isolated all those different letters and images, and I was able to stencil what I wanted. Now I'm coming in with my black pen to give it an outline. It's a little bit of a messy look, but it works. It's almost easier to see without the outline, and just having it white, but it's okay. I go with it. I really fiddled with that. I did like 4 different steps to it. And I'm just filling all of that in. I did add some white splatter paint to my heart and some black splatter paint. Now I'm coming in with a red color pencil, and I'm adding some shadowing on my letters. It just adds a little bit of dimension and depth to my words, and I think it helps to complete the picture. So I used a combination of stamps here, and then that stencil, I used it in so many different ways as a background for the letters, and you can see how I isolated the different elements so that I could make both this stencil and these stamps work the way I wanted them to. I used a date stamp to stamp my date, and now I'm going to make a tab just on some white cardstock. I'm applying that color. I'm going to use my tab punch, and then somehow I didn't press record on that, but I also used the Faith Word Fetty stamp set, and I stamped out Heart of Worship and put that on my tab. And that is it for this page. Here's some close-up shots. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Be sure to check out the new release from Sweet N Sassy Stamps. I do have all the products linked in my description box. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much. God bless. Bye-bye.